Welcome to episode 27 of Fascinating, a Star Trek podcast. The alternative factor.
In this week's episode, a tear in the fabric of the universe leads to an unusual quadrant-wide energy-sapping event and the appearance of a man who warns of a dangerous enemy. As the stranger desperately tries to recruit Kirk and the Enterprise to his cause, the theft of the ship's dilithium crystals forces the captain's hand. The fate of the universe hangs on Kirk's next move, but will he put the needs of the many before the needs of the few?
Annihilation, Jim. Total, complete, absolute annihilation.
Howdy, Ian.
Good evening, Gerry. How are you?
I'm very good. Better than this episode.
That's not that hard, is it?
No.
You could have COVID and be better than this episode.
Ooh, too soon.
Okay. More of a sort of alien of the week type thing this week.
You think?
Yeah, and a bit more focus, I thought, on the concept than on the characters, which can work or flop.
Yeah, I thought it was an interesting concept, but it was a confused mess.
Yes, it ended up kind of a battle between garbled gibberish and excessive exposition.
Yeah.
Neither was very easy to follow.
No. I mean, it's not up there with Last Salute to the Commodore levels of badness. That's the Columbo episode, widely regarded as the worst. But I'd say it's a dagger of the mind, which is not a Star Trek title, but a Columbo title in this case.
Okay, so how would you liken it? Which other Star Trek episode would you put it alongside?
I wouldn't. I think
the worst so far.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, you hinted at it last week, and I wasn't entirely convinced that it would be this bad. And I think there's something there, and it could have been done very effectively. But I was always a little bit confused, and it's not the most sophisticated plot, but I think with Star Trek, it's not the type of show where you really are meant to have to work it out and think very deeply about it. I mean, the themes might be deep and more sophisticated than what you might imagine, but the actual following the episode shouldn't be too much of a trial for you, I don't think.
Yeah, this one had a lot of unspoken stuff going on that if you didn't get it quickly, then you missed a whole chunk of what was happening.
Yeah, I think it was quite badly edited as well.
Okay.
I'm saying that because we're never introduced to the Lazarus character, and then suddenly he's mentioned by name, and
Everyone
I thought,
knows him, yeah.
Where did that come from?
And I don't think they're clear enough on the split between the two Lazarus characters.
No.
But anyway, we'll get to that as we delve into it on a scene-by-scene basis.
We will. I'm happy that they used the word alternative and not alternate. I think Americans have got a tendency to use those as synonyms.
You don't think they're synonyms?
They're not, no. Alternate doesn't mean, it means to go between one and the other.
Well, alternate would have made sense then.
Yes, it would have, if you were talking about, yes, but it's an alternative universe, a different universe.
Okay. So you could have used either. Yeah.
It'd be an alternate Lazarus.
Yes.
But an
from the alternative universe.
Yes.
Okay. They were in a no-lose situation then with their title choice.
Yeah. Anyway, enough of this. Let's crack on.
Start on the bridge. Your favourite place to begin an episode?
It's a comforting place. You know where you are when you're on the bridge. If you're thrown into the middle of an episode on some planet, I think, oh, what's going on here?
Yeah. Well, you get that with movies as well. Sometimes you quite like to watch the first half hour of a movie just to kind of remember how things were before the bad guy came and smashed everything up.
Well, you see, sometimes you get it. I think that's one of the initial beats in any good movie. What you do is you set the scene, you set the universe, you set the world of the hero character, and then you introduce something that disrupts his day-to-day life, and he has to overcome that. So, yeah, I think it's following a tried and trusted formula.
Anyhow, yes, they are surveying, the Enterprise is surveying an ordinary-looking planet.
So, Kirk tells the navigator, it's not Sulu.
I think it's Leslie.
Yeah, that's played by one of the ubiquitous, is that not Ed Paskey?
Yeah, he's in about 50 episodes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him later.
Okay, today?
One of the episodes, maybe today.
All right. Kirk tells this character to orbit 4 more times before heading for or setting the course for Starbase 200.
Yeah, I
How many
presume. I don't think they're counting from 1 to 200. I think that would to do with the region it's in or something like that.
Right. Look at hotel rooms. If you're on the second floor, you start at 200. It's not. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So they're already moving on to the next mission.
However, just then something drastic happens.
Yes, there's a jolt that rocks the entire ship, quickly followed by a second.
Yeah, something that Spock describes as being totally unbelievable.
Quite a lot for him. He seems to have a grasp of science and the universe around him.
He's not very impressive this week, Spock.
No, his use of language is quite poor.
Not just that, his knowledge, his input.
Yeah. He gives Kirk a very colloquial explanation of what's happened rather than a scientific one.
What was that?
I think he says that for a split second, everything in sensor range was on the verge of winking out. For a start, on the verge of, so it didn't wink out. And secondly, winking out, is that a technical term?
Yeah, maybe.
What does it mean?
Nothing.
He then explains the magnetic field blinked. So why did he not say that the first time? Why is he talking about winking? Yeah,
this isn't a time to be casual about language.
No, exactly. You need to be precise in an alert situation.
And this blink caused the planet below to obtain zero gravity?
I don't know if he means zero mass, but they say that they're recording the mass. Yeah. And they talk about zero gravity, meaning it didn't exist. That doesn't make sense. The moon's not got any gravity, or it's got some, but not very much.
In any case, Kirk states this is impossible, as what he's describing is the non-existence of the planet.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It doesn't really, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe someone's more science, he'll say, yeah, this is perfectly fine, but it seems a bit like mumbo-jumbo.
It does. Spock agrees with him.
Yeah, that's even more baffling.
Uhura then relays a general alert from Starfleet Command, causing Kirk to set the Enterprise to alert status before Spock has a surprising update for him.
Yeah, there's now a person on the planet.
He explains that it appeared at exactly the same time the blink ended. So is this an analogy to sort of the Big Bang?
Don't think
Life form being created from...
I don't think so.
No?
I think the suggestion is that his arrival coincided with this blink and therefore they were linked events. I don't think he was caused by the blink.
No. I'm asking the question because I was taking these notes live as I watched it for the first time. So, yeah, knowing what I know now after watching it, it doesn't make as much sense. But I thought that's what they were trying to insinuate.
We do get a few times in this episode some hints back to early Spock, because first of all, he immediately identifies this person as a potential threat.
Then he gets beat at chess.
Not quite.
Tries to kill someone with a big gun.
Yes, we'll come to that.
Okay.
Yes. Given the lack of data, I don't know how Spock comes to any conclusion, but he tells Kirk, yes, this guy might be a threat.
So Kirk decides to take him down with him, as well as a security team, to see what's going on.
Yes, and Uhura is to let him know immediately if there's any word from Starfleet.
The credits followed by a resumption down on this planet. I don't think the planet's ever named, is it?
No, we get a captain's log though.
We do. It's a rocky, hilly terrain, and it's shown over this summary log 387.6. 3087.6. I mean, it explains why the planet doesn't have a name. It's uncharted. It's new. It's not been named. Okay, I thought it... Yeah, right, okay. I thought they meant that it just hadn't been there. But surely you would know that... You would know the planet
astronomers
existed.
would know it existed, so it's maybe got like a code name or something, but it's probably not been colloquially named.
Yeah. They then find a small individual spacecraft that looks very much to me like it belongs to the Jetsons.
Jetsons, yes. I think it is the Jetsons one.
Is it?
I don't know.
Jetsons came before this.
Well, there you go. It's probably the Jetsons one then.
Based on it, yeah. I think the Jetsons were first introduced in the 61, 62.
I never really got into the Jetsons. I always felt like it was a poor relation to the Flintstones.
Yeah, I was more of a Flintstones fan myself. My favourite was one of the movie versions. It was the Flintstones meet Rockula.
Okay.
It was quite good. I enjoyed that. They won a competition and they ended up going to a castle with Frankenstein and all that type of stuff. Or his monster, for being pedantic.
Yeah, I'm sure. We can do a Flintstones podcast next.
No, we can't.
Okay.
Because we'd have to do the movies and they're pretty atrocious.
We could do them on Patreon only, no one will listen. Anyhow, As they approach this ship, they hear a man shouting out from the rocks above.
Yes, a bearded, dishevelled looking man, and he thanks them for coming and claims it's not too late. There's still time to stop him, whoever he may be.
Yes, and he falls off the mountain.
Yeah, and ends up unconscious. I thought he was dead. He should have been dead, that type of fall.
You would have thought so.
But no, we're up on the bridge now.
This scene confused me.
Again, as I said, badly edited. It's not a...
My first impression was this was a skip back in time to right after the blink, and it was an alternate set of events, but no, this is continuing on.
Alternative set of events.
Well, no, there's only two possibilities. So.
No, to alternate means to go back and forth. It doesn't mean...
Fine. It's an alternative
yeah.
set of events. But no, it's not. It is... Yeah, but I thought maybe we were going between two different timelines.
Right,
That's what I was thinking. That's why it's alternate.
Sure.
But anyway, I was wrong, so it doesn't matter either way. This is a continuation. They're back from the planet.
Alternate's a different way of saying it, isn't it? You alternate, not alternate.
Yeah, no one said that.
No, I'm just thinking.
Okay, you carry on. Lieutenant Masters is up from engineering to give Kirk a report on the dilithium crystals.
Yes, they have been drained. And Kirk notes that this will cause their orbit to decay in around 10 hours. Again, it's good to have a timeline on a problem.
Yeah.
Gives you a bit of urgency, doesn't it? A bit of agency.
It does. It's a very unusual exchange here, though, because basically she's saying, should I recharge the batteries of the ship? And he's saying, well, if you don't, we'll crash. So, yes.
Now, Masters is a new character. I'm assuming she'll be a regular now.
No.
What is it with holding on to people?
She's the new MacGyvers, except without the romantic subplot. Spock notes that there have been no further phenomena.
He also has no data or further insight into what happened, other than that the effect was felt strongest on the planet beneath.
At this stage, Uhura reports that there is a message from Starfleet. Code Factor 1, and we know what that means from last week.
What was that again?
Invasion!
Kirk reacts immediately to this by ordering battle stations before receiving a communication from McCoy, informing him that the patient they brought up will recover.
He's a bit stiff, but he'll live.
Aren't we all?
Especially when you just wake up.
He then receives the message from the Commodore, assigning him a particularly unenviable mission.
You were aware of the effect an hour ago.
Yes, sir?
You may not be aware of its scope. It occurred in every quadrant of the galaxy and far beyond. Complete disruption of normal magnetic and gravimetric fields, time warp distortion, impossible radiation variations, and all of them centering in the general area which you are now patrolling. The question is, are these natural phenomena? Or are they mechanically created? And if they are, by whom? For what purpose? Your guess, Captain.
Thank you, sir. I have considered all the alternatives. My best guess is it could be a prelude to invasion.
Exactly our consensus. I'm giving you the job of finding out specifically.
Aye, sir. Can you assign me other starships as a reserve?
Negative. I'm evacuating all Starfleet units and personnel within 100 parsecs of your position. It's going to be tough on you and the Enterprise, but that's the job you've drawn. You're on your own.
I see. You mean we're the bait?
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
I believe the Commodore referred to a time warp distortion, which apparently caused him to put his hands on his hips and bring his knees in tight.
Whilst wearing stockings and suspenders.
Exactly. I wonder if Kirk saying he thinks this is a prelude to invasion is him picking up on the order that Starfleet's already given and just saying what he thinks they want to hear. Because there's no basis for thinking this is a invasion situation.
No.
There's no indication of any other starships or hostile activity.
Yeah, I think perhaps is he trying to make himself and the Enterprise look like the sort of heroes. Don't worry, we'll sort this out. It's obviously going to be really dangerous, but he's thinking to himself, should be fine.
I found that entire conversation unintentionally hilarious.
Why?
Because Kirk's position is, it's going to be really dangerous, so send some help. No.
It's
We're
so
all
deep.
hiding.
Yes, I'm pulling everyone else out, you madman.
Literally everybody else is leaving. And you deal with that. Okay, so it reminds me of, you've been watching or reading the Harry Potter stories.
Yeah, to my...
Have you got to the end of the second one? Or
no, I'm on the last 30 pages of the second one.
So you know the bit with, what's his name, that Kenneth Branagh plays?
Lockhart Gilderoy.
And the Pixies.
Yes.
But like that, you guys deal with this, I'm off.
Talking about what I'm reading, I'm listening just now to Anthony Daniels' autobiography, C-3PO. I've said before, I wasn't a big sci-fi fan, but I do enjoy listening to different people, interesting people.
Yeah, is he interesting?
It's okay.
Says it all. Yeah. Anyhow, Kirk at this point, after the conversation with the Commodore, asks Spock to review the situation because he's off to speak to the visitor.
Indeed. We're down in, I think it's Kirk's quarters now.
That's where he has his meetings, so I guess. So.
We come in midway through their chat after this guest has explained why he was on the planet chasing the devil's own spawn across the universe.
He must have given his name in the first half of the conversation.
The editor must have watched this after it's been cut together and thought, or the director, there's something missing here. Anyway, apparently this spawn is humanoid on the outside, whilst a murdering monster inside that has destroyed his entire civilization, and they only managed to escape as he was inspecting satellites at the time. So
he's awfully desperate for Kirk to believe him. He keeps checking, you believe me, yes.
Yeah. I don't believe him because
he asked.
And also, are you telling me there's only one man up there checking satellites?
Makes no sense.
No.
And then Kirk mentions these blinks, and Lazarus blames them on this enemy straight away. That was his death, anti-life he lives to destroy. But it didn't destroy anything.
No.
It didn't even harm anything, apart from that rip in the universe.
A minor tear.
Yeah. He gets quite biblical with some of his language, which I suppose is why he's called Lazarus.
Yeah.
He talks about a holy cause and visiting justice and vengeance upon this enemy. He's quite caught up in the whole rigmarole, isn't he?
Yeah.
Kirk's not having it.
No, he rightly tells him that his only cause is the safety of the Enterprise, and tells him that he is going to beam down with him to see if they can prove this story to be true. I'm not sure what's expecting when he gets down there. That they'll find this monster. I mean, he might not find it. I don't know how this proves it either way.
I have no idea. So they beam down anyway, and we see crew examining the wee ship that Lazarus has presumably come in. But Spock has nothing to report.
No, useless again. Hopeless. What have you got for me, Spock? Note.
Nothing at all. But he does quite forcefully accuse Lazarus of lying.
Yeah, Lazarus isn't happy and gets angrier when Spock makes this accusation.
Well, Spock doubles down, sort of referring to logic. He says, I fail to comprehend your indignation, sir. I've simply made the logical deduction that you're a liar.
And rather than consider that Spock may be wrong, he demands that Lazarus tell the truth. But before anything can be done, there appears to be another blink where Lazarus has a seizure, isn't it?
Some kind of episode.
While shouting, and did you recognise where we are?
On a rocky planet.
Yes. I have been watching, because of the new Bill and Ted movie, I've been watching the other two.
Okay.
And interestingly, in the Bogus Journey, they are watching the Gorn episode of Star Trek.
Okay.
And the bit, if you're not aware of it, the bit where the good Bill and Ted get killed, they get thrown off the rocks, it's the same place.
Okay.
And that's where this is as well.
That's good.
Anyway.
So maybe it was the Gorn he was chasing after?
Yeah, could have been.
In any event, before Kirk or Spock can figure out what's going on, not much hope of Spock figuring anything out this week, but before they can figure out what's going on, Lazarus appears to become caught or locked in some kind of struggle. Yeah,
he's shouting after the monster whilst in the middle of this blink. I was confused. I didn't know what was going on, to be honest.
It's a bit strange. The camera effect, and they repeat it over and over again, it's not a great effect. It's like this red nebula type thing comes up, and then we get this silhouetted black on white image.
And yes, now in fairness, what I would say is that I think what they're trying to do, maybe it's because of the limitations of technology, however, it's the negative of the film, isn't it? And it sort of ties in with what we come to learn. It's the reverse, it's the negative, the yin and yang.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that was intentional or not.
I assume... Well, but he's not in the negative place. He's in the tunnel between. When they get to the negative place, it looks just like the positive place.
Yeah, but this is just representing the fact that there are positive
giving
and
this
negative.
idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just because they had that effect and they were trying to be smart with it. I don't know.
In any event, Lazarus returns and reports to Kirk that the thing attacked him. And Spock's readings at this point say, oh, it happened right here. Which they could have told you anyway, just from having looked at him.
But Lazarus insists that this shows that he was right and they must kill the thing before it destroys them.
Fair enough.
Captain's log 3088.3. They continue to orbit the planet whilst Lazarus' story about the humanoid still troubles him.
It does.
Why? See, this is the thing.
Because he doesn't have an answer.
I know, but we've discussed this before, I think. You find that Kirk can be faced with things that are a bit odd and he reacts like we would react. But with his experience and what he's seen in the universe and what he's been personally involved in, none of this should surprise him.
Well, even this is a little bit beyond what he's seen before.
What?
Things that can affect an entire universe or entire galaxy.
But does he know that at this point?
Yes, did Starfleet not say to him that the blinking affected all quadrants of the galaxy?
Sure. Okay. We're on the bridge.
I've mistyped this. I've written down Spock doesn't have a donut. But I think Spock hasn't...
well, I've written Spock still has nothing. Useless.
Yeah. Well, donut makes sense.
Yeah.
He's come up with a big zero.
But he does doubt that a single creature could cause such destruction. Although he does accept the rest of Lazarus' story fits as his wounds evidence an attack.
Sure. Uhura advises Kirk that McCoy wants to see him in Sickbay.
She does. But before that, I think Kirk asks the questions. Like, he wants to know how the monster does this. He has no weapons or power. But how does he know that it's got no weapons or powers?
Well, there was nothing visible, I suppose is what he means.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. This is... You don't need a gun or a phaser. He's seen creatures who have other, powers.
I think this is one of those episodes where they're all just a bit tired.
Yeah.
And they're due back at a starbase.
I know how they feel.
Yeah.
We're in Sickbay, where McCoy has something to tell the impatient Kirk.
Yes, Lazarus had a wound on his head and it vanished, and now he's gone.
Yeah. Even when you take into consideration McCoy's incredible powers as a medic.
Yes.
And this doesn't help Kirk's confusion and wants to know where he is. But McCoy's got no idea.
No, but we do, because he's in the rec room.
He is. Here's the thing. I think McCoy says, I don't know, it's a big ship. But surely Kirk puts him under armed guard. He's considering the chap has immensely destructive powers and doesn't know if he's a good guy or a bad guy or what he's up to.
He doesn't know this guy. He thinks the enemy has the powers.
Yeah, sure, but still.
He's not done anything to make them think he's hostile to them.
So you let him wander about the ship?
Generally what they do. They let folk have free reign.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't.
No.
I'd have him watched.
Anyhow, he's down in the rec room. There's nobody playing chess as far as I can see.
Nope.
But there are folk chatting.
Yeah, he overhears Masters as she finds out that the amplification of the crystals is now complete, and she exits. So he follows her out in the corridor, but has another seizure, another blink.
Yes, there's another, negative fight, or whatever you want to call it, and after it concludes, the wound has returned to his forehead.
It has, just as he is found by Kirk and McCoy. He says he's fine, but McCoy is confused about this rapid rehabilitation.
That's it.
So Kirk, it's weird. Kirk assumes that McCoy's been playing a joke.
Well, it's the same as in Shore Leave. He did the same thing then, and McCoy can't convince him. So we assume McCoy must be pulling his leg with this sort of thing all the time, and we just don't see it. It must be like every other week, this guy's leg fell off. Now it's back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would Kirk even consider that it's a joke?
He's sort of annoyed with McCoy.
Yeah, he says, if I had time, I'd laugh, doesn't he?
Yeah, as if he's always at it. You're the office japester, but it's starting to irritate us.
I think it's a bit unprofessional. Maybe he's strung out.
In any case, before they can discuss things, Spock communicates with a request for Kirk to go to the bridge urgently.
He does, and he is going to take Lazarus with him.
When they arrive, Spock is showing him the blinking source of the radiation on the big screen.
Yes, with the unusual caveat that it isn't there.
according to their scanners.
Yeah, Kirk doesn't have time for this nonsense. I think he's fed up with folk just giving him this double speak.
Is it Spock that claims it can loosely be described as a rip in the universe, a warp that redefines their understanding of physics?
Yeah, he's gone from being completely useless to being completely obscure.
Yeah.
When in doubt, it's a massive leap, isn't it?
Of course it is.
It's an unidentified source of radiation. We can't figure out what it is. It's probably a rip in the universe that nobody's ever seen before, proving the existence of parallel universes.
Yeah. And when he mentions the crystals, it excites and agitates their guest.
Yes, that's it. The dilithium crystals. Their power. We could do it.
You refer to the humanoid?
Yes, we've got him, Captain. We've got him.
What do the crystals have to do with it? All they show is a point of radiation.
That's just it. That's the key. That's the way to trap him. That's the solution. Captain, I beg of you. I plead. I demand. Give me the crystals.
Out of the question. Those crystals are the very heart of the power of my ship.
You fool. There won't be any ship if we don't kill him. He'll destroy all of you.
How? Now you tell me how. All I've heard from you is double talk, lies, threats, accusations that don't hold an ounce of water. Now you tell me, how does it present a danger to my ship?
I warn you, Captain. You'll give me the crystals.
Don't threaten me, Lazarus.
No threat intended. Captain. I'll have my vengeance.
Leaving the bridge, Lazarus suffers another episode before heading for engineering.
Yeah, but on recovery, we see that his wound has disappeared again.
It has.
In engineering, Masters receives a communication from Kirk to prepare a dilithium experiment. And we see Lazarus overpower a red shirt and then do the same to her while she's on the call with Kirk.
Yes, and obviously Kirk's able to hear that there's something wrong.
So up on the bridge, Ahura confirms to the worried captain that Lazarus is missing.
So obviously he is now being followed.
Yeah.
Or at least monitored.
Captain's log 3088.7. They are no further forward in finding out what is going on. 2 crew have been attacked and 2 crystals are missing. They're not doing a very good job, are they?
No, they're struggling quite badly here. In the briefing room, Kirk has hauled Lazarus in for a discussion.
With the headwind.
He's now got the headwind. Kirk doesn't like his attitude.
No. He's accused of taking these crystals, something that he flatly denies.
He does.
And insists that he has to find the beast to find the crystals. Always the case.
Yeah. Under questioning from Spock, he says the enemy would take those crystals to power his ship.
So Kirk, I think he asks an obvious question. How did this creature get aboard the Enterprise?
There's no answer forthcoming, so Kirk comes to the exact same conclusion he did 20 minutes ago.
What's that?
That's beamed down to the planet with Lazarus.
And he thanks him for this opportunity. But I think that Kirk warns him that he may not have a reason to thank him or be grateful, depending on what they discover.
He's going to execute him.
Yeah.
On the planet's surface, Spock is there, once again reporting nothing.
Yeah, they're standing beside the Jetsons' ship.
Kirk wants this area combed.
A fine tooth. Have you seen Spaceballs?
No, do they use an actual comb?
Yeah, a massive comb. They're told to. It's quite good. Rick Moranis playing Darth Helmet.
Mm-hmm. Lazarus wanders off to have another episode and then dislodges a rock that looks like it's going to kill Kirk.
But he manages to warn him before falling over himself.
He does.
We cut back immediately to Sickbay, where he comes around and Kirk thanks him for saving his life. I'm not sure if I'd be thanking so. You kicked the rock, nearly killed me with a rock, you careless fool.
Yes, it was very much the Wile E. Coyote sort of thing going on again.
Yeah.
Anyhow, over McCoy's objections, Kirk insists on questions. Which Lazarus is this now?
Can't remember. One of them.
Okay. We get the answer fairly shortly when he starts ranting and raving about his holy cause.
I think Kirk's got a report, a computer report, which proves him apparently to be a liar.
Yes.
It indicates that there is no planet at the location he claims to have came from. But Lazarus states that they wouldn't believe the truth. Kirk tells him, try me anyway. And so he tells his tale.
I distorted a fact in the interest of self-preservation for my holy cause. I needed help, not censure, freedom, not captivity for being a madman. I was afraid that's what you'd call me if I told you the truth.
I'll have the truth now.
My planet, my Earth, or what's left of it, is down there beneath us.
What are you saying?
That my spaceship is more than just that. It's a time chamber, a time ship. And I am a time traveler.
And this thing you search for is a time traveler too?
Oh, yes. He's fled me across all the years. All the empty years to a dead future. On a murdered planet he destroyed.
Help me! Give me the tools I need to kill him! The crystals! Don't let him get away! Don't let him get away! Don't let
Hurt. I know.
Away.
I sympathize. But I've got 430 other men to worry about. Now, where are those crystals?
I told you. He's got them. He took them. The thing. The thing.
You've got to get some rest, Jim. And would you get that muscle man out of my sick bay?
You never want a muscle man in your sick bay.
No, never. I think that's another pack of lies from Lazarus. I don't think he's a time traveller at all.
No, he's not.
There's no evidence of that either up to this point or after this point in the episode.
Yeah, well, we find out he's not a time traveller. He's been making it up. He's simply crazy. But the concept of time travel should not come as a great shock to...
I don't think it did. He didn't look that upset about it, did he?
So, yeah. Did he not discover it
He's
himself?
time travelled twice. Yeah.
Anyway, Kirk dismisses the muscle man, but insists that the pain Lazarus is in at the moment might drive him harder than any pleasure he might get.
Harsh. McCoy says Lazarus is going nowhere.
This time, after the last time, I let him wander.
But as soon as they all leave the room, he has another one of his episodes.
Yeah, well, he manages to bring himself to his feet. Only, I think it's more of a mini attack this time.
Okay, does he maybe not change over?
Don't think so.
Okay. In the briefing room,
Kirk is with Spock and runs over the minimal information that they have about what is going on.
and leap to massive conclusions.
Yeah. I think, well, they accept that the ship's instruments are unable to identify the source of the radiation. And from this, as you say, they extrapolate that it can only mean the source is not from or in their universe.
Correct. They discuss the theory of parallel universes and perhaps, obviously, one that is opposite in all ways.
Yeah, this is, as you said earlier, this is just massive leapery.
Yeah, and also stupid.
Yeah, stupid.
The
Spock agrees with the scientific possibility of this parallel universe or dimension. And so Kirk asks what would happen if a minus universe came into contact with a positive one.
It would make your tongue tingle.
Spock has no doubts. What would happen?
It would be the end of all things.
Yeah, it would cause a warp, a distortion in the laws of physics. But this would explain what's been happening. I'm not sure they have this information or the knowledge or the expertise to make these...
No. You're right. Talking about not having the information, Spock goes on to talk about Lazarus being like two different men, except they've only met one of them.
Have they?
They've never met the one with no wound on his forehead.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
So this is what confuses me. I'm not sure who's...
Unless they had, and I've missed it, but from the interactions they've had with Lazarus, every time they've been with him, it's been the irrational, angry one.
Yep. See, this episode might be... I've got a feeling this episode might be one that improves with a number of different watches. I've only seen this episode once as I was taking notes, so I'm not sure. I can't answer that if they've met, but I think if you watch it knowing what you're meant to know,
Okay.
it might make more sense. But that in itself isn't episodic TV shouldn't require, and you couldn't back then.
Yeah, multiple viewings.
Yeah.
Anyway, Spock says that he must be killed, which is good to have the old Spock back again.
Yeah. When in doubt, destroy.
Phaser rifles at the ready. Spock also posits that a parallel universe could consist of antimatter while ours is matter.
Doesn't matter.
Our universe is antimatter. What's he talking about?
But they wouldn't have known about that. Is that not a recent discovery?
Well, surely they had the theory by then, if they're using the phrase.
Yeah.
Unless they're just completely making this up. Anyhow, his conjecture is that a coming together could cause a violent reaction that wipes out both universes.
Yeah, an annihilation, as we heard at the top of the podcast. Out in the corridor.
This is shocking to me.
What, the fact that...
He moves 2 switches and engineering blows up?
Yeah.
That's poor safety.
A kid could be walking around, Charlie Evans.
Yeah.
Could have been messing around and decided just to fiddle.
Yeah.
And then you bring down the entire enterprise. It's a shocker.
Absolutely is.
Yes. Yeah, so explain, what does Lazarus actually do?
He fiddles with this circuit and it begins to smoke, and then we see engineering fill with smoke where masters and an assistant engineer have to evacuate.
Which allows him to enter.
Yes, she reports to the bridge. Uhura passes that on to Kirk and Spock, who immediately realise what's happened and head to engineering.
Yeah, by the time they arrive, the fire is under control, but they realise that it was started by Lazarus in an attempt to get the crystals.
Meanwhile, in the transporter room, a very dopey transporter chief waits until he's in shot to question Lazarus.
And is therefore knocked out.
Very easily.
Yeah. Now, I didn't like this. If I had to look at that equipment, I would have no idea how to work a transporter. He knows exactly what to do and he beams himself down.
Yeah, but he's beamed down a few times with Kirk already, remember? You'll have seen it being operated.
Okay.
But we've never seen someone beam themselves down before. So I don't know how he set a delay on that.
Timer.
Yeah,
like a selfie.
Anyhow, we then see Kirk and Spock. Kirk's going to head down to the surface after Lazarus. Spock should gather a team and follow as quickly as possible.
So, we're down on the planet. Lazarus gets to his spaceship, and I think, does he install the... He's doing... I don't know.
He's putting the dilithium crystals into the perfectly shaped slots that he has for them on his ship.
Yeah, whilst muttering for someone to run, as we see Kirk beam down.
Yes. As Kirk approaches, Lazarus is still celebrating his success, but is shocked to see Kirk physically approach him. Yes,
he shouts out, "No, not you." However, before Kirk can do anything, another blink happens, and this time it's the captain that disappears.
Yes, much to Lazarus's anguish.
And we see him now struggling in the negative universe, and when he finally returns, it is to a darker planet, and an uninjured and more composed Lazarus.
I wasn't expecting you.
No. Him.
Yes, him. You understand?
Not completely. This is a parallel universe?
Of course.
Antimatter?
Here, yes.
And if identical particles meet?
The end of everything. Civilization, existence, all gone. I tried to stop him, Captain. That's why I took your dilithium crystals.
He has 2 more.
That's very bad, Captain. If he comes through at a time of his own choosing... But I think if we hurry, and you will help me, he can yet still be stopped. There's little time left.
Okay, so my understanding of that is the fact that he has to come in at a time of his own choosing means that the other one is pulled into this tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
So why wasn't the other universe's Kirk pulled into the tunnel when Kirk went in?
Yeah, I don't know.
Where is the other universe's Enterprise? Why is it not orbiting the planet in this mirror universe? And is this the mirror universe that people talk about?
Yeah. I'll be honest. This is one of these episodes that, yes, you just don't follow 100%, and I stopped trying to work it out and just enjoyed some of the performances and thought, do you know what, it's not worth trying to get a head round
Just
this.
enjoy the beard.
Yeah, just enjoy the wispy little beard, the little Splinter-esque.
Mr. Tumnus sort of thing.
Yeah. I'm not even going to try and follow this anymore.
Okay. Kirk agrees with the negative Lazarus that destroying the small ship in their universe will destroy the other small ship and trap both Lazaruses in the negative space between the universes.
Yeah, whatever. I like that in the clip there where he says, "Oh, so you understand?" And he's like, "Yeah, but just remind me again."
Yeah.
Nope, no idea. Not got a clue.
It's like Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
Anyhow, Kirk returns to our universe and gets into a hand-to-hand battle with positive Lazarus.
Does he?
He does, before throwing him into that void, or at least the door of his ship that has become a void.
Yes, and Spock tells security to take the crystals to the Enterprise before Kirk says that the ship must be destroyed completely.
Yes, Spock notes some small amount of concern for Lazarus at this point, but nothing comes of that.
No.
Up on the bridge in our little denouement, but it's not quite the denouement because they haven't finished what they're doing.
Nope.
Kirk has the Jetson ship destroyed, and then they leave at Warp 1.
They do.
Noting that their own universe is safe.
But he's clearly not happy about the resolution or the lack of it.
I think the problem is he doesn't know what's happened.
He doesn't know what's happened, but I think he doesn't like the fact that he has been party to the good Lazarus sacrificing himself.
Yes, he's effectively made this happen. And I think Spock has figured this out finally, raises the matter, and Kirk kind of confirms and laments.
Yeah, I mean, the talk of them being trapped, or the good Lazarus being trapped for eternity with a raging madman at your throat. Now, I don't understand this. Why would it be for eternity? They're both human or humanoids. They'll die.
No, I think time doesn't pass in the negative tube.
Why?
Why not?
Okay.
That's what they said.
Sure. But you can still die, surely. If they're at each other's throat, someone's going to win. Somebody eventually goes to sleep and gets strangled to death.
Well, if you can sleep in the negative zone.
But if you can't and you can't be killed, then you would just come to an arrangement. Listen, we're here for a long time together.
This guy's crazy.
Yeah, but then you'd go crazy as well.
Eventually. That would soothe everything.
Surely they need to eat.
Don't think so.
Why not?
Because they're not existing on the normal plane of existence.
This sounds like nonsense to me.
Yeah, well, it is.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I think we see at the end that Kirk clearly retains misgivings about the resolution.
He does, yeah.
It reminded me a bit of the end of Charlie X.
Yeah. Although Charlie X was a horrible wee creature.
So was Lazarus.
Not as bad as Charlie.
He had a better beard.
Yeah. So, yeah, there we have it. I won't watch this one again.
Do you think the story distinguished between the Lazaruses and their motivations well enough to follow?
Nope, didn't follow most of it at all. Like, look, as I said earlier there, I think giving it a second watch, doesn't deserve a second watch. It's just the problem. That's the thing. It's just a bit of a mess. I think they had the basis of a good story, and just they didn't execute it well enough.
It wouldn't take much tweaking to make this into a really good Star Trek Doctor Who crossover.
Right.
You don't watch Doctor Who, so you don't know what I'm talking about.
Never seen an episode.
You could easily substitute one of the Lazaruses with the Doctor, one with an alien, and not have the whole parallel universe side of things. Not a Dalek.
Huh?
No, it seems to be something else.
It's the other ones you have.
Slitheen or something.
All right.
Ood. Have a wee Ood chasing him.
Have a wee Ood.
Anyway.
It's all good in the Ood.
Yeah. I don't really have anything else to say about this.
Yeah.
We've touched on the points.
That'll do it. We'll get over the hump. Hopefully next week it'll be an improvement.
Yeah, probably. No Scotty or Sulu because Masters was obviously cheaper.
Yeah.
And just did Scotty's role.
Mm-hmm. Ahura still doing nothing other than saying, we've a message for you, Captain.
Yeah. Someone on the phone.
Yeah, basically. Okay. Any trivia?
Yeah, I got the original air date wrong last week. I said the same as I'd said the previous week because I didn't update my notes.
All right, copy and paste job, was it?
So last week was the 23rd of March 67. This week's episode aired on the 30th of March 1967. And it was directed by a familiar name to you, Gert Oswald. His second and final Star Trek episode. We discussed him in more detail way back before lockdown when we did The Conscience of the King.
Yeah.
Don Ingalls wrote the episode, first of 2 for the show. He also wrote for...
First of 2. He done well getting another one.
I know. Tell me about it. He also wrote for Captain America, Gunsmoke, and he was a producer on shows like Honey West, Fantasy Island, and T.J. Hooker. He died in 2014 at the age of 95.
Okay.
Still regretting this episode, probably.
Hopefully. On his deathbed.
Robert Brown. He played both Lazaruses in his only Star Trek appearance. He also showed up as a regular on Here Come the Brides and Primus.
It was quite good. I mean, he was quite hammy, but it was enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, well, there's circumstances around it as well, which we'll come to. He's also our Columbo connection of the week. He played Arthur Meadus in the 1975 episode Playback opposite Oscar Werner.
I like that episode.
He remains alive as far as I'm aware. He's 93 years old.
Good.
He didn't do much television after the 70s. He was more into theatre work, apparently. Janet McLaughlin played Masters in Engineering. This was her only Star Trek appearance, but she had a long career in film and television, appearing on shows like Cagney and Lacey, Murder, She Wrote, and Murder One, which had a really good first season.
Was that the baldy guy?
Well, the first season was.
Yeah.
The good season. The second season was Anthony LaPaglia.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but I remember at the time it was huge.
Oh, I've got the DVDs at home. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Really good first series.
He was one of the ones that became an unlikely sex symbol, I think.
Probably.
Yeah.
She died in 2010 at the age of 77. There was originally a romantic subplot for Masters and Lazarus, but Gene Roddenberry had it pulled because it was too similar to Space Seed.
Lazarus, no, that'd be nonsense.
Yeah. And there was also a jilted boyfriend involved as well in the first draft. Lazarus was originally due to be played by John Drew Barrymore, the father of Drew Barrymore,
Yeah.
but he just didn't show up on the first day of filming, so they had to get another guy. Brown,
He looked at the script and said, nah.
Brown was swiftly recruited, but the studio took action against Barrymore and he ended up with a 6-month acting ban from the Actors Guild.
Oh, yeah. Probably worth it.
This is the only episode where we mentioned earlier Lieutenant Leslie appears in the credits, and they spell his name wrong.
That's unfortunate.
Not the actor's name, but the character's name. And in terms of international titles, the French go with Les Jumeaux de l'Apocalypse, the twins of the apocalypse.
Okay.
The Germans go with Alf Messer's Schneide, on a razor's edge.
Come on, Japan, do it.
And in Japan, it was simply Futatu no Uchu, which is 2 universes.
You've let us down this week.
It's disappointing, the choices. Next week, however, it's the 28th and penultimate episode of Season 1.
Cracking on.
The City on the Edge of Forever, which is well regarded.
Is it? Good.
And if you want to keep in touch with us between now and then, social media, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook, where we're at Trek Podcast. And if you go to the website at astartrekpodcast.com, there's a post up for each and every episode. You can leave your thoughts, reminiscences, reviews, reports, whatever you want to, and we'll respond to you there.
Until then,
cheerio.
Bye bye.